Would you vote to certify, and will you vote to certify the results of the 2024 election, no matter what they show?
Well, I voted not to certify the state of Pennsylvania because, as we saw in Pennsylvania and other states across the country, that there was unconstitutional acts circumventing the state legislature and unilaterally changing election law.
What about 2024? What about 2024?
We will see.
What about what you just said right there? That you have no evidence to back up. That's Elise Stefanik, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, number 3 in the Republican House, saying that no, she's not going to commit to certifying the results of 2024. She was asked again, clearly, as you heard Kristen Welker trying to be like, what about the future? We know you did it in the past, but will you do it again? Here's what she said.
But just to be very clear, I don't hear you committed to certifying the election results. Will you only commit to certify the results if former President Trump wins? Does that mean that former President Trump wins?
No, it means if they are constitutional. What we saw in 2020 was unconstitutional circumventing of the Constitution, not going through state legislatures when it comes to changing election law. And we're seeing this in my home state of New York, Kristen. We are seeing Democrats try to steal the election and illegally gerrymander congressional districts that we fairly won and are fair line. So I see this at a very local level, as well as the unconstitutional overreach we saw at the national level in 2020.
So no, in other words, no, blah, blah, blah. No, I will not. As Bernie said at the time, heads I win, tails you lose. That is how Republicans are gonna roll from now on. Let's just roll it back and remember, Trump and his allies lost many, many court cases claiming that the election in 2020 was stolen. 50, in fact, if you're counting, Forbes is counting, 50 post-election lawsuits. And so many lawyers who haven't been paid. I mean, think of the lawyers that haven't been paid. Again, in Arizona, Trump's faithful laggy Giuliani admitted, yeah, there was no fraud. You know, I thought there was fraud, but there was not. Had to admit that. I'm not sure if that was before or after he, farted on Jenna Ellis. Kind of my favorite moment of 2021. And then recently, Trump's voter data expert that he hired also admitted that 2020 was not stolen. It doesn't matter the fact, like Ray, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. They feel it was stolen. And that's all that matters. It's just, I feel like it was cheating because my guy didn't win.
Right. And it's like really rich, Elise Stefanik's use of the term unconstitutional repeatedly in that interview there, because what she's saying is unconstitutional is overturning illegal gerrymandering, which was deemed unconstitutional itself.
Right.
So she's claiming that the unconstitutional gerrymandering, overturning that is unconstitutional. Now I've said unconstitutional too many times. I will say that I think that she's good evidence that the Republican Party and Donald Trump are existential threats to democracy in this country. That threat is real, but it is so unsettling and so disheartening that the person who we have to turn to save democracy is Joe Biden, the most lackluster candidate the Democrats could possibly be running when we are in such a critical moment in history for this country. We literally have a party that says we will just steal the election. They did it with George W. Bush through the Supreme Court. Now they are gonna do it through shadier means because the courts aren't siding with them this time. And the only guy apparently the Democratic Party can imagine spearheading their party is Joseph Robinette Biden.
Robinette.
I mean, come on. If you care about democracy, take your asses into gear and give us somebody worth voting for.
But here's the other thing I will say to that, Ray, because I think you're absolutely right. I've been, railing about like how weak Joe Biden is, especially now with his handling of Gaza and Israel. But on top of that, winning is not enough. Do you know what I'm saying? And so setting us up for the fact that, because ostensibly Republicans are saying it's only good if I win. But actually, Democrats are also saying that because they have no real plan for safeguarding our electoral process. They have no propaganda, if you will, like a PR push to tell you actually what happened in 2020. Tell us about those 50 cases that Trump brought and lost. Tell us about actually how the electors work, how state legislatures work, how voting works. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so that if Joe Biden does lose, that's all we've got. We're gonna cry, foul play as well, without actually helping us understand, and especially some of the lost souls to MAGA, helping them understand, no, you cannot subvert a democratic process. Trump couldn't in 2020. You know what I'm saying? Like, we cannot only rest on winning. There is far more at stake. It's much deeper than just winning, which I feel like folks have tunnel vision about.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.